and welcome to the Little Blessed Homeschool YouTube channel. My name is Jenna and I am a homeschool mom to two girls, Lily, who is 9, and Lucy, who is 4. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about working and homeschooling your kids, and is it even possible to do that? And the short answer is anything is possible. So yes, it is possible, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's easy, because it's not. So one thing that you should know about me is that I am a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool my kids, but I also run a business out of my home. And I started this particular business in 2020, but I have been selling and had my own businesses since 2014. And just a quick little overview, with my oldest daughter, Lily, I was a single mom, and it was a huge struggle. I was so broke. And I'm not even ashamed to admit it, because I was a single mom and my daughter had a lot of medical issues that she was born with, and she was in and out of surgery for the first year of her life. She was fed through a feeding tube. It was really hard. I was on a lot of government assistance, but even with the government assistance, I still was not able to do a lot of things. So during that time, I decided to open up a shop on Etsy. I had a friend who was selling on Etsy at the time. This was back in 2014, and she had been selling on there since like 2007, so a long time. And she was super successful. And so I opened up an Etsy shop, and I mean, it was slow starting, but it ended up picking up, and I did fairly well. I mean, I made enough to cover the small things that I needed to cover. And it actually helped me keep a roof over our heads. And then, and I just continued to do it. I did take a brief break when I met my husband when my oldest daughter was 2. We ended up getting married when she was 4. And so around the 4-year age, around 2017, 2018, when I had my youngest daughter, Lucy, I did take a break from selling on there because I just had so much going on. It was just really hard to keep up with. But, and then we moved from Colorado to North Carolina in 2019 because my husband's job transferred us here. And so once that happened, I didn't start my business up again until we had moved to North Carolina and had settled in. So when I originally started my business back up in at the end of 2019, well, I think it was the summer of 2019, I didn't sell what I sell now yet. I had a Cricut, and I made everything and anything you can think of with a Cricut, and I sold it, and I did very well. I did extremely well. But for Christmas in 2019, as a gift, I got a candle making kit, and I just fell in love with making candles. And so in February of 2020, right before COVID, I launched a candle business, and I did very well. It was slow to start because of COVID, so I wasn't doing as good. But then the Christmas of 2020, fall and Christmas, it went crazy. I took off. I was doing anywhere from 150 to 200 orders a day. It was insane, and it was only me. And so I will say that it was a little rough, because I was also homeschooling my kids, and I was also trying to do this business, and I was new to homeschooling, so I didn't really know how to prioritize my day. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. And I had this like stigma in my brain at the time that school had to be done in the morning. But I also needed to work during the day because the post office closes at 4:30. So I needed to work up until 4:30, 4, so I can get my orders to the post office that day that needed to ship that day. And so it was very stressful because I didn't really have it all together at that time. But then 2021 was actually my most profitable year I have ever had selling on Etsy. I mean, I made, not to like brag or anything, and it's not as much as you really think, but I made more last year than I had in all the years I've been on Etsy. And it was absolutely insane. And it was to the point where it was almost not fun anymore. And, not only was I homeschooling my kids, I had the house to keep up with. My husband works full time. He has a very demanding job. My job was to take care of the kids all the time. And I wasn't even being able to do that because I had my business. And it was very stressful in 2021, and it was like I said, my most profitable year I've ever had on Etsy. And I made more in 1 year on Etsy that year than I had made in any of the previous years combined. So it was insane. And it was mostly because, all the stimulus checks that people were getting, they were buying, more stuff, and it was absolutely insane. And that year was pretty messy, I will say. I mean, there were some days where I'd be like, I have 100 orders that have to go out by 4 o'clock today, and it is like 6 in the morning, and I would go up there and I would work, and I would try to get all these orders out, and we wouldn't even start school till the evening. And I used to feel so guilty about that. I used to be like, I cannot believe, like I felt like I was failing. And in reality, when you homeschool, it's your homeschool. You get to choose what works best for your family. There is no rule out there that says you have to homeschool during the day. There's no rule out there that says you have to homeschool a certain amount, like a certain many hours a day. But I still had that mentality in my brain that I had to homeschool in the morning, and I had to do it by this time so that I could get to work and finish these orders. And, my husband actually said to me, and he's like, the reason that you homeschool is for the freedom. He goes, it doesn't feel like you're very free right now. And he goes, it feels like you're doing what you think that you have to do. And he was like, nowhere, he's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but nowhere does it say that you have to homeschool at 8 in the morning. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You are 100% right. So once I got into the mentality that I could homeschool when I wanted to homeschool, it went a lot smoother for us. So while I was busy, we did a little shift. I would get up at 6 a.m. and go straight to work, and I would work until lunchtime. I'd come in the house, I'd make the kids lunch, whatever. I'd get them, whatever they needed. Because by the way, I work in the garage that is detached from our house. So I wasn't actually physically in the house, but my husband works from home and he is in the house. And, the kids would just play during the day. And then I would go back to work after I made it, everyone lunch, and I'd work till about 4 o'clock. And then I would load up my car, or the post office would come and pick up, and they would take my orders off for the day. And then as soon as that happened, that was like my relief. And I would come in the house, and usually what we did is it was about 4:30. So we would do a couple subjects, then we'd break, and I'd make dinner, we'd eat dinner, and then we would finish whatever we need to finish after dinner. And then we would go to bed. And it started to become a normal routine, and it started to just become habit. Like that's how we're doing. I did learn a lot from being so busy and being so crazy. I didn't especially like that it would take me away from my kids as much as it did. So in that aspect of working, I didn't really like. And so I did learn to maybe scale back my business a little bit, because first and foremost, my role is to be a mom and is to homeschool my kids. That is number one priority. I do this business for our fun money, and for us to be able to afford improvements on our home or stuff like that. My husband makes a very good living, and technically, when it comes down to it, we could live off of his income just fine. The only problem with just living off his income is we would not be able to, like the kids wouldn't be able to do a lot of extracurricular activities. Our co-op is, we pay for that, and we probably wouldn't be able to do that. We probably could only do like one class a kid, coming off of my husband's income. So I do this business as the extras. So my business pays for the co-op that we do. Both my daughters are on bowling league. Lily used to take coding classes, and she used to do gymnastics, but she's not doing any of that anymore. It's mostly just bowling for her. And then my younger daughter, she's on a bowling league, but mostly just because her sister is. She does gymnastics, and she's going to start dance in the fall. And so in order to be able to pay for all of that, be able to go on field trips, be able to do that, I do have to have my business. It is the extra income that we need to do all of the fun stuff. And we don't really need to do that stuff. We want to do that stuff. And because my kids want to do that stuff, I have my business so that I can give that to my kids. But the one thing that I learned from 2021 was that I have to scale back my business so it doesn't take over my life like it did. And so sometimes if I get super busy, like especially during Mother's Day, a lot of people like to buy candles and, gift sets for Mother's Day. That is probably one of my busiest times. And so one thing that I do, Mother's Day is in May. It's usually within the first 2 weeks of May. And so in April is usually when we do our spring break. And I try to plan our spring break during the time that I'm the busiest. That way, if we usually don't go anywhere for spring break anyway. I mean, if we do, it would be to like Myrtle Beach, which is only like 3 hours away from us. So it's not even that bad. But, we usually typically don't like to go on vacation during that time anyway. So I usually work like during that time, and I take the whole week and I get completely caught up on all my orders so that when we reconvene and come back to school, I don't have as much to do to get out for Mother's Day. That's actually what I did this year. I think the economy has taken a toll on my business. I was not as busy as I was in 2021. I was actually a lot slower, but it was a manageable slow. I mean, granted, I did get busy. I mean, there were days where I would have like 60 orders or 70 orders, but nothing like 2021. 2021 was insane. I mean, there was one weekend in 2021 where my mom didn't live in North Carolina yet. She was actually moving there that summer. And I called her on the phone and I said, I need you to come. I was like, Josh is going to help me all weekend. That's my husband, by the way. And we are going to just get out as many orders. I said, I have 800 orders that have to go out by Monday. I was like, I need you to come. And she's retired from Frontier Airlines, so she flies for free. So she hopped on a plane and came and took the girls to the beach for the weekend. And Josh and I literally worked from 6 a.m. until probably about 2-3 in the morning. We'd go get a couple hours of sleep and get right back at it. And we did that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And she brought the girls back Sunday night. And Sunday night, I still had by the time the girls got back home, I still had, I think, 60 orders left. It was insane. And then the post office came Monday morning and they had to bring I think they bought 3 trucks just for my orders because I had so many orders. That was insane. And I will never let that happen again. I mean, it was, I don't even know. It was just absolutely insane. So my thing for 2022 was once I get to an amount of orders that I can no longer handle homeschooling, being a mom, and my business, I put my shop in vacation. And that was the plan. But when Christmas came in 2021, I was again super busy, but nothing like Mother's Day. I was busy. But the good thing is that I take 2 weeks off during that time from school. We don't have the co-op in December. And so when we don't have the co-op in session, we only do school 4 days a week. And so I always had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if I needed to catch up. So it worked in December. But this 2022, this Mother Day was not as busy as it was the previous year. And I was actually able to manage it. I mean, yes, granted, I was busy, but it was a much more manageable busyness. This fall and Christmas season that's coming up, I am launching a whole bunch of new stuff in my business, which I'm excited for, but I'm also nervous for as well. I don't know. I'm trying to make it easier on myself to manage the business as well. But like I said, homeschooling and being a mom is absolutely number one. So that comes first. My business does come last. And if I'm ever feeling again like I can't handle both, my business will come back. I will have to take my business out of the equation. But like I said, it's not easy. And it's not easy to work and do homeschooling. But here's the thing too. My husband and I have talked a lot about what if there becomes a time where I do have to get a job to help pay for stuff around the house. And, that's definitely with all of this inflation stuff that's going on, that's definitely a possibility. It kind of scares me a little, but we agree that homeschooling, no matter what, will come first. So if it happens to be that we have to work opposite schedules where maybe because if he has the same job, he works during the day, I would then possibly have to get a job and work, a couple nights a week. And that's fine because I'll be at home and I'll be able to homeschool the kids. And then when he gets off work, I go to work, stuff like that. But we have always said that me being a stay-at-home mom was very important before we started homeschooling. But then once we started homeschooling, we determined that is the most important thing to us right now, is to homeschool the kids. So no matter what, that will always come first, and we will always figure out a way. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. So if you're a mom right now that does work part-time or even works a full-time job, but you want to homeschool your kids, just know that, that decision is not something that's be taken lightly, but it is doable. It is very doable. If you have to work, it's so doable. You could be on opposite schedules. Your husband can also be the one that teaches sometimes. I mean, there's so many ways that you can work around your kids going to public school if homeschooling is what you are trying to do. My husband always said too, if he absolutely had to, he would get a second job so that we could stay home and homeschool the kids, because it's that important to us. And so it's not always easy to be a working mom. Now, I sell on Etsy and I do very well. I just opened up a new Etsy shop where I sell homeschool digital prints, digital files, digital planners, stuff like that. It's brand new. I only opened it like 2 weeks ago. And I did it mostly because I liked creating. So I made that planner. In one of my previous videos, I showed this planner, this digital planner that I had made, because I wasn't really thrilled with any of the planners that are out there. And I liked it so much, I liked designing it, that I decided to open up a second Etsy shop. It's only been a week, so I only have one sale. But, I'm hoping maybe that'll take it off the ground, and that is easier because I literally designed the product and I put it on Etsy, and it's digital. So once somebody pays for it, then they download it. I don't have to ship anything. And so I don't even have to prepare anything. I just make it the first time, put it up there, and then people purchase it. And so I'm trying to move more into that direction because maybe it'll help me, not be so consumed by products that I make and I sell. But if you're interested just to check out, what I do, I will put the links to both of my Etsy shops down in the description. And I'm not selling you anything, so don't think anything of that. If you just want to see like what it is I do and how I do it, you can see it that way if you would like. But there's some other ways that if you are a homeschool mom and you do need to make some extra income, there are tons of ways besides going to work and doing them. You could be a nanny. You could babysit. I know that seems kind of weird to do that because you did that when you were a teenager, but there's an option. You could babysit somebody's kids. Since you are a stay-at-home mom and maybe you have somebody that needs help picking up their kids from school, you could go do that and they could pay you. Another one that I've heard about and I looked into because I was going to do it, but I just don't think that it's for me personally. I mean, it could be for you, but it's called Cambly. It's like Cambly, and it's basically teaching kids or adults from other countries how to speak English. So I know a lot of homeschool moms who have actually done something like that, so that's an option too. Selling on Etsy, selling on eBay. You can also sell on Amazon. Amazon has an Amazon handmade. There's a lot of moms that do thrifting, and on Etsy, you can actually have, you can't really sell, well, you could. If you want to sell already made items, you can be the antiques, because Etsy is handmade, craft supplies, and vintage. But I think if it's vintage, it has to be, I think they're now at like 1980, which is crazy because I was born in 83. I think it's 1980 and back that is considered vintage. I think it's 1980, which is crazy. I just can't believe that is considered vintage. And so you can sell stuff like that on Etsy as well. There's so many things that you could do out there to make money. You just, you got to be able to have the patience to do it is all there is to it. So if you have any questions about how I manage my time, or if you have anything I didn't cover, you can go ahead and ask me in the comments. I try to respond to everybody who comments. I do get kind of busy, so I do kind of forget sometimes, but for the most part, I try to. You can follow, our homeschool journey if you'd like to on Instagram. That's at Little Blessed Homeschool. My candle business that I do is I just added soap and skincare as well. It's called Two Little Wicks Candle Company. You can find me on Etsy. I also have a subscription box, which I do as well. I sell on Fair for wholesale, and I actually sell my candles in 2 local retail stores here in North Carolina, one in Wake Forest and one down in Southport. And so, like I said, my candle business does very well, and it is our second source of income. And I'd be lying if I said that it was just all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to working and homeschooling. It's messy. It's doable. It is 100% doable, but it is a little messy. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. And if you'll subscribe to my channel and like and comment if you'd like. So have a great day.